So I guess we're just going to have to wait a second here before we get into the game. But yes, it will be Nuke as the second map here today. And this is actually a fairly interesting map. I believe that NOREG would have mainly picked this to try and sort of throw their opposition off. Because, again, Space Soldiers have almost never played Nuke in the past few months. However, at the same time, it's actually going to be very interesting to see if NOREG themselves have had too much practice on Nuke. Of course, this Norwegian team is a mix of players. Marcelius and Radifaction, two of the young guns coming up from the Norwegian scene, have looked good in this tournament. But in that last map, despite losing 16-14, it was really Croman who was looking very good alongside Rubino. Seems like those somewhat more experienced players are having a better showing of things, and that's really what I wanted to see from the Norwegian team to be able to compete here. Again, guys, if you have ever seen Nuke before, it is a very well-known map that is tough to observe. So if we miss a lot of kills here, I'm sorry, I will try my best. However, I am not the best observer, and to do it while casting is something I'm still getting used to. So let's see how this goes. We will head underway into the knife round. Again, I think the main thing here is to see which of these teams is more prepared for Nuke. I think Space Soldiers will still have practiced this map somewhat, maybe a little bit, but really not that often. They did, of course, ban Train here instead of Nuke, which is the map that they banned for the most part. Thanks, Carlker97. I think the casting's still fine. The issue is I'm missing some kills on the observing, so that's annoying, but what can you do? Yeah, I don't think Space Soldiers would have practiced Nuke too much, but I think they should have at least played it a couple of times. They have played it in the Mountain Dew League a few times in the past. The last time they played it, though, again, was back in July. They lost against Mousesports 16-4, and ever since then, Space Soldiers have strayed away from this map. So I'm not really expecting either of these teams to be too prepared for Nuke, but I suppose NOREG, considering they picked it, might have something up their sleeve. Either way, as long as both of these teams have those outside smokes prepped, obviously you can kind of smoke off these sort of areas, even here, and just try and get down in towards secret. That's the main thing you need to be able to do on the T side to have the best chance of success. So as long as they have those smokes lined up, then I think both these teams should be fine on the T side. So here we go. We are ready to head back underway into Nuke. Space Soldiers scrape the first map into their favor. But considering it was Cache, a map they've historically been very, very good on, the fact that it was so close was somewhat surprising. And look at this, NOREG might just have themselves prepared for Nuke here, because they have started with 2 sets of nades on their T side. Rubino going to go for just 1 smoke and 1 flash. And they are going to line up these outside smokes. This is a really good sign for NOREG. They clearly have done their homework. Smokes will come in, and Despe won't be able to do too much to hold this off. It's only going to be Rubino committing to the push down, but oh, Radifaction elsewhere gets that opening pick in towards ramp. Radifaction doubles down, going for the entries. And they're going to wrap their way towards B with Rubino catching the rotating Xantares off guard. Xantares will go falling, so now Despe tries to get back to the site, but he will also be taken out. Calyx will also be finished off. Zevez coming straight down the vents, finds the final kill, but more importantly, that was just Radifaction getting those 2 kills out towards ramp, made it so much easier for NOREG on the B site push. Space Soldiers just couldn't get into position to hold off B. And so NOREG, despite only committing a little bit towards outside with those smokes being deployed, they managed to get themselves the pistol. course, we will see Space Soldiers force, and for what it's worth, back on Cash, NOREG won both pistol rounds, and then lost against the Space Soldiers force twice. So they need to make sure they don't underestimate Space Soldiers here, because we've seen Space Soldiers win these force buys in the past. Calyx holding up on the A site. Rubino yet again has got his way in towards Secret. Currently Engine is the man holding in towards Ramp. And he could get some action shortly. Ooh, nearly spots Radofaction. Rubino's just going to wait in towards Secret to see if he can spot anyone out. But it will be Engine challenged first. He gets a dink and decides to fall back. In the meantime, Despe is also here. Missing a couple of shots, but he's done a fair amount of damage. Oh, the nade from Radofaction is so important to make sure that scout can't do more damage. Marcelius did spot the flank there as Calyx went down. And Major, oh, nearly gets a chance, but Marcelius, again, low on health, manages to get that frag. However, Engine here with the CZ could clean up. Two low health players waiting in towards ramp room. Radofaction nearly goes down, but Xantares is the one man left. But he does get that first kill. Sure, they have two AKs left on the NOREG side, but Xantares has both opponents low on health. A big risk to go in towards heaven, but they take the gamble and it pays off because Xantares committed down to B. And so now this makes Xantares' chances of winning this clutch very, very slim. If he'd have committed to the correct site and tried to hold things off, I think Xantares would have had every chance to win. However, instead, he's just going to have to rotate up, and there we go. Marcelius catches him in the back, and it is the two AKs for NOREG of Marcelius and Radofaction who managed to take all the kills between them and secure the second round for NOREG. Space Soldiers again, of course, forced down to the full eco. And Rubino is very aware of that. He's going to go for the Mach 10. Look at this, though. Space Soldiers are going to stick together for a push. Unfortunately for them, NOREG have walked onto the A site in the meantime. Despe going in first, but it's Zevez who finishes him off. Could be in some trouble here, but it's just a complete shutout. Engine does, at the very least, find one kill with the USP, but as you would expect, NOREG hold on for a very easy third round. Have you done a lot of research on the background of the NOREG players? Yeah, I certainly know them. Croman generally has played entry for Dignitas. I think Croman is a very useful player when he's playing well. He certainly can be very good on the entries. Marcelius and Radofaction both have been up-and-comers in the Norwegian scene. Of course, Rubino, traditionally a very well-known player. My question was always who's going to be the standout players for the team, and it seems like Marcelius and Radofaction have been able to step up and be the stars, which was really surprising to me. Despe here in the midst of the smoke. Oh, he gets taken out. Dropped out to the round early on. Major here holding off, should be good. Gets the one kill, dinks the second, but not quite the frag. There we go, though. Major does double down, but it's just not enough. It's all up to Engine, spraying away for the one frag. And that is the bomb drop down here. So Engine can certainly still pull this off, but a great flashbang forces him back. He's still got two opponents to find. Really good Molotov and smoke coming in to make sure Engine has no possible chance of denying the bomb plant. So now Engine is just going to have to force some fights. Hasn't got the kit just yet, so he's going to have to rely on his aim. Smoke comes out, he is full blind, but still Radofaction doesn't go for the peak. Blinded again, Engine in all kinds of trouble. And the utility use there for Marcelius and Radofaction was actually really well done. The flashes were on point, the smoke and the molly were both lined up. Really, really well played by Marcelius and Radofaction between them there. Didn't really allow Engine any chance of being able to find some fights. And so NOREG will continue to extend their lead 4-0 up. And more importantly, Space Soldiers will continue to be stuck on pistols. Flash going to come through. And the push will follow suit towards outside. Zevez is currently the man going in first. Ooh, very quick headshot there to take down Xantares. There is still a second man, but Despe falls before I can even switch to him. And elsewhere, just frags all across the map. Calyx will also die off. And again, the pistol's not really getting anything done for Space Soldiers. Croman should be able to take this kill all day, every day. Okay, he misses the shots. This is a bit awkward. Yep. Come on, Croman, you can do it. Okay, he's got the support now. Oh, okay, Major finally shows up with a couple of headshots, but eventually, Croman will finally find the frag. A little bit of a struggle, and a little bit of damage done for Space Soldiers, but it will still be NOREG to take the 5-0 lead. So here we go. The switch up from Space Soldiers is going for the 2 AWPs. It is very difficult to hold outside, even if you have an AWP in your hands, as the smokes come over the top. Xantares is holding alongside Despe towards outside. There is a gap in that smoke. Despe could certainly get an entry kill here. Zevez might just go walking round the corner. Oh, spots out the arm, but Despe can't quite connect. And in the meantime, Zevez already finds that first entry towards the A-bomb site. You can see already NOREG just so quick to be able to get themselves on the site itself, and Xantares attempting to rotate up ends up falling. An engine was in towards heaven, but he was forced back by the flames. Well, Major is gifted 1 kill as Zevez goes hunting. You can see here, Rubino is also trying to see if he can find some frags, but it seems like Space Soldiers should be good to try and save. And hopefully for their sake, try to get these AWPs into action, because they did not get any chances to find kills. And again, NOREG are just looking fairly good so far on their T side. Very sort of decisive on their pushes. And this is why I'm surprised Space Soldiers didn't ban nuke early. Just because, again, they don't really know how good NOREG are on this map. Couple of exit kills coming through there. However, it will be NOREG still holding a 6-0 lead. And even after a fair few of their opponents, even after a fair few of the NOREG players died, they still have so much money built up. Same old for NOREG. The smokes towards outside have been successful. Again, though, a gap in the smoke, but Despe can't quite pull the trigger when the flash comes in, so Despe not going to get any chance to find that frag. It's Xantares in the meantime to get the opening kill for the CT side. You can see Croman will be playing that traditional entry role, jumping in, but Xantares found 2 frags before he fell. So despite Croman getting in his face, Xantares holds his nerve. And now you can see Croman is going to have to try and play for this kill. He does bait out the shot from Engine. The bomb still isn't committing to the B site though. Zevez is in trouble here. 2 players coming in. There's the first spray down. Nearly gets traded on. Despe pushing through with the CZ. Shuts out the bomb. And Croman here, I believe, should have heard the steps in towards Hell, as Engine is forced to fall back. However, I don't think the timing will quite be right for Croman to be able to pull this off. Have you been following the Norwegian scene? I tried to catch up on it before these games. Like, I looked at a couple of games from Marcelius in Acapella and Radafaction in BX3, I believe. Just to make sure I knew about those guys, because I'd seen the rest of the players. Ooh, Croman. Very quick first kill, but he's still got 2 more to fight. Jumping round, and there we go. Easy frag for Despe. And Xantares' 3k makes the difference for Space Soldiers as they finally take their first round on the board. NOREG so far have mainly just been going for the AKs on their T side. And with how they've been playing, I don't think they particularly need an AWP. So they are not going to go for one. Just going to be 5 AKs to play with, and with the smokes towards outside, they're not really taking any long-range fights. They're coming down in towards secret and trying to hit the bomb sites. And that's generally going to be close-range engagements coming in. Smokes have come in towards outside yet again, and the Norwegian team will make their way down with ease. Croman again trying to take the point. Actually, this time he's going to be flashing for Zevez to go in first, and they're just going to try and explode onto the A site. Calix is just out in the open, and Xantares only gets 1 kill on the hold. And again, a very explosive push from NOREG out towards A. Leaves the rest of the team stranded on the Space Soldiers side. They're just nowhere near the site. And this could really now start to get out of hand for the CT side. Major and Engine will attempt to save, but Engine is taken out from Croman in towards heaven. So Major will just be walking away. Again, taking a quick look at the scoreboard. Nice to see Zevez stepping up for the team. He's statistically been the worst player so far for this team, but it seems like he's taking a lot of the more difficult roles. You saw there, even in that round, Zevez was going in first. Despite Croman fairly often playing that entry role, it seems like it's sort of Croman and Zevez doing a lot of that. So Space Soldiers with the saved rifles will attempt to force into the round. But if they lose this one, I think this map could already be too far gone. Again, this new version of Nuke is certainly more T-sided, but I don't know how good Space Soldiers will be on their T-side in particular. Ooh, Major playing around the smokes there. Might just be able to open up with the AK. There we go. He does get the first kill. And now Major's going to try and slither away, but Zevez is in position to find the trade. Good effort from Major, but as soon as the smokes fade, he is in trouble. And losing that AK is a fairly big loss, considering they only really had the 3 rifles. Of course, he has at the very least slowed down the push towards outside, so now Despe can hold with the AWP fairly easily. Although there is still some utility left on the T side. Engine will be looking to lock down ramp, and he is very committed to this position. Oftentimes, players will just try to fall back to B if the push comes in towards them. This is a bit of an off angle from Engine, but he's going to really need to get 2 kills to hold this off. However, as I say that, Despe comes in for the rotate. Easy frag for him to open up in the round. And that AWP might just be able to make the difference here. You can see the terrorists are forced to fall back. Bino looking for the entries, whipping a little bit, but there we go. Again, the A site hold is struggling. Xantares and Calix have not been able to hold off that A push whatsoever. And NOREG just keep on exploiting that. This is starting to become a real issue for Space Soldiers, especially because, of course, their money is just down in the dumps yet again. It's somewhat rare that you'll see those pushes come out to the A site, but so far, Space Soldiers have not proven they can hold on towards A. And considering Xantares and Calix are playing there, you'd expect them to be able to hold it off. However, they have not been able to do so whatsoever. Both Xantares and Calix have been struggling so far. If anything, it's been the rest of Space Soldiers playing well. You might see that continue as Engine gets himself an opener with just the USP. Ratifaction going down early, but the AK will not be recovered as Croman moves into position to secure the safety of the dropped rifle. Elsewhere, Zevez, I believe, up towards outside, got that frag. You can see here the push coming in towards huts. There is Major getting the 1 kill. And Despe himself could be in position, but he is taken out. So despite the bomb being dropped, I don't expect Major to be able to do too much here. Croman should just stay safe and allow Zevez to try and frag. But there we go. Croman does peek out a little bit unnecessarily. Rubino, though, Ooh, doesn't quite get the timing right, so Major sneaks his way in towards Trophy Room. Used to be known as Radio Room, of course, but the new version of Nuke included the trophies. Should be the bomb picked up, though. And Major is just going to try and see if he can hold off towards A. That is where the push is coming. Still, the bomb not recovered. Rubino is in towards Hut. Major nearly spots him out, but Rubino just about avoids the shots. And NOREG will continue to win round after round. 9-1 up. Still no timeout from Space Soldiers. And more importantly, in this round, still no AWP for Despe. And he has been good on that AWP so far. Rotating back between Heaven and Ramp. He's been fairly important in trying to hold both those positions. So the fact he doesn't have that AWP could be a worry, especially as yet again, NOREG are going to go for those smokes over towards outside. And I'm sure they will get their way down in towards Secret fairly easily because there's very little presence here. Despe, you can see, is just going to have to let them pass. And so Croman will be looking for the initial entries. Antares holding it towards Vent. He misses that frag. That's a huge miss because now Engine has to scramble to get into position. They should have spotted him out here. The smoke comes in, but Engine doesn't even really see anyone before he is taken out. Again, it's just a complete domination from NOREG. This time on the B site, they find success. And it always feels like Space Soldiers are just a step behind. You saw their Engine was forced to attempt to rotate over. He couldn't get into position anywhere near quickly enough. Just taking a quick look at the scoreboard, I think the best thing here for NOREG is the fact that it's Zevez top fragging. Again, as I was saying earlier, he'd been the player in the group stages who'd struggled the most for NOREG. However, the fact that he, oftentimes on the entry, is finding those opening kills, it's really allowing the Norwegian lineup to extend their lead so much further than you would usually expect. Remember, the third map is still Mirage, which Space Soldiers certainly have been pretty good on in the past. However, it seems like they just didn't respect enough the NOREG nuke. Antares did get the first frag there. That was down in towards Vents, surprisingly enough. And Major, slowly but surely, is going to creep his way up Secret. Marcelius is out in the open there somewhat. I don't think Major's quite going to spot him out. Major, you need to see the man. Is he not pulling the trigger? Okay, there we go. He spots Marcelius, but the UMP obviously at long range is going to struggle. Major, please get this kill. He doesn't quite find the frag, and now the AWP of Marcelius will stay safe for the time being. Oh no, Major goes down. Zevez is going to come in towards Heaven, and again, he is looking on point on Nuke. And it's all up to Despe. Marcelius is at the very least low, and there is the first frag. Ooh, gets the second, but Zevez again is in position to clean up the round. Of course, if Major had anything that could do better at long range than a UMP, I'm sure he would have been much more confident in pulling the trigger. However, instead, he wanted to make sure he didn't go down and didn't quite secure the kill. So the switch up from Space Soldiers is again to AWPs, but this time it's Calyx picking up the secondary AWP rather than Engine. Who's playing on the A site right now for Space Soldiers? Anyone? It's just Major by himself. And it seems like NOREG are going to set up some players around the A site fairly early on. Antares now will come back around to help out towards the A site. However, still, we've seen the A-hold struggle so far. Rubino gets that first entry towards outside, and Antares has to be scared of two angles now. Goes for the frag, but Rubino takes him out, and again, one by one, they just get picked apart on the A site hold. Calyx, oh dear, doesn't check below him. And so Rubino will just keep on going. 3 frags for him. And this is just a slaughter right now. I don't know what else to say. NOREG 12-1 up. before the game, I was questioning how much Space Soldiers have practiced on Nuke. But clearly, I should have been questioning how much NOREG had put into this map, because they have looked fairly good on their pushes. They haven't had to do anything spectacular, but they just look very well prepped in terms of being able to push together. Space Soldiers taking a huge gamble, and at this point, I don't blame them. Push coming out, all 4 players getting their way in towards lobby. However, in the meantime, the push comes outside. Oh, such a scramble of a round. But it will be, I believe, Despace spraying down alongside Engine. And they just about take the round win. I actually really like that call from Space Soldiers at this point. Clearly, just holding passively towards the site has not been working whatsoever for them. So just go for a 5-man push, see if you can get a couple of kills. And it looked weird, it looked like a bit of a slog, but Space Soldiers managed to, at the very least, get their second round win. Of course, Despace probably won't be pushing with the team this round because he has an AWP. We are going to see NOREG themselves not go for the outside smoke. Zevez going aggressively out. Engine gets the kill before the trade comes through. However, Calix is in position to get one more frag back. That was an important rotate down. Despace was also there with the AWP, but he didn't quite get the kill. Dino finds another frag, this time in towards the A side of the map. Tries to go pushing out there a bit by himself. That seemed a little bit strange from Rubino. I think he thought A was wide open, and instead, the second man finishes him off, and so Marcelius is left 1v2. Xantares will be mollied off the defense. Calix does go down, but Xantares pushes through the flames to be able to get a 3rd round on the board for Space Soldiers. That may be enough for Space Soldiers to try and compete. However, they're still so far behind here. Of course, the pistol round is going to be vital. What do you think about NOREG not buying up the AWP on the T side? With how they were playing, they didn't really need an AWP. They were going for a lot of pushes together as a team quickly towards the sites. And they weren't really trying to work any picks towards outside. They were just kind of going for the smokes. So I think going for the AKs is perfectly fine. Especially when you saw the quick pushes towards the A site especially were working quite well. You can do that with the AKs all day, every day. Either way, here we go. Space Soldiers have themselves gone for 2 sets of nades. And it looks like they do indeed have the smokes lined up to go in towards outside. Down come the smokes. Major will be pushing up first. They will get their way in towards Secret. Meantime, Rubino rotating down through the vents. Could get the first kill here. Major jumping across will keep himself safe. Major now has gained a fair amount of ground, but the push might come out towards A here. You can see Croman on the site could be caught off guard. Indeed he is. Marcellus is still in towards Heaven alongside Zevez. And Rubino also comes up through the vents. He could be very important here. Rubino gets caught reloading, but still the kill's coming back and forth. Major trying to find something here in towards Mini, but he can't quite find the frag. Ratifaction stays safe. And Marcellus comes in from Heaven to catch them in the back. And that might just spell the end of this second map. NOREG take the pistol. And unless Space Soldiers can win one of these upcoming rounds, they are going to be in a world of hurt. Again, we've got to give credit to NOREG. They've looked very good here on Nuke. But at the same time, Space Soldiers, you can clearly see some of the players just not having the confidence. Not really finding the kills as you might expect them to. Ratifaction is here with an MP7. Decides to fall back, and he certainly does hear these steps. Ratifaction should take this fight, and here comes Marcellus. He does go down, but Zevez was there to back his fallen comrades. Ooh, Engine nearly gets that frag, but Ratifaction will keep himself safe. He's going to call for the rotation down. Rubino is out in the open, but the CZ not really going to be favoured at that range. Engine, here's the flank coming in. Zevez actually was walking all the way, so catches him off guard. And another round for NOREG. Again, we'll take a look at the scoreboard. Still Zevez leading the way, but the rest of the team are certainly also stepping up for the Norwegian side. And at this point, Space Soldiers are just going to have to continually force and hope that something can work out for them. They did find a couple of opening kills in that previous round. However, it just doesn't feel like they're going to come back. They're just way too far behind. CT side looks fairly poor from them. Again, push comes in towards outside. Rubino is here. Alongside Zevez. It's actually Radafaction to get the first frag. That was in towards ramp, I believe. Xantares was trying to push through the smoke, but he fell first. Rubino down the vents, gets 2 easy frags. The M4 holds its ground. Radafaction up close should be able to get at the very least 1 kill, and indeed he does. Engine without the bomb in a 1-on-4 is going to have to bang off some heads. It's pretty much the only way back into this round for him. And against full rifles, that is not going to be an easy feat. Zevez is playing close in towards Secret, so if he could sneak his way into this position, get himself a rifle, that's probably the best chance to win the round. However, again, Zevez has looked very, very good here on nuke. Here we go, Engine rounding the corner, but Zevez will not allow any chance for the Desert Eagle. 15-3 to NOREG, and Space Soldiers yet again only have pistols. And it seems like this one's going to a third map. There we go. Radafaction whipping out the AUG yet again. It's interesting. Radafaction certainly uses the AUG every now and then. I don't know if this is just because they're up 15-3 or if he has something in mind for it. It's still fun to see. Okay, Marcelius gets the first kill. I have no idea where that was. It looks like it was in towards Hut. Rubino holding on towards outside. He spots the shadow trying to pre-fire, and there we go. Gets himself a kill before the trade comes out. Good shot from Xantares. Oh, okay. Calix himself gets another Deagle kill. Finally, Calix is finding some form for the Space Soldiers side as he gets a second kill. But it's come way too late here for Space Soldiers. Still 15-3 down. And this round isn't even over just yet. Radafaction is holding back towards ramp, but Croman could get good timing here. Calix is with the bomb outside. 3 players peeking towards him, so nothing Croman can do. Radafaction with the AUG is going to try and win the round. Can Space Soldiers cope with the scope? We will get to see. Well, never mind, we won't get to see because Radafaction is just going to go for the save. I was trying to hype it up, but nope. Radafaction wants nothing to do with this round. So there we go. Space Soldiers will get 1 more round on the board. Mainly thanks to those Desert Eagle kills from Calix and Xantares between them. Don't know if you can hear that faintly in the background, but there's definitely some passing wind on the map. Radafaction does get the 1 frag. Okay, the AUG doing some work. Again, at long range, it's probably better than the rifles, right? So I certainly don't mind the purchase if you can find the correct positions for it. I just think the AUG on the CT side, it can be fairly awkward if you're trying to rotate over. It's also worth pointing out the AUG has a fairly long reload time compared to the M4, which is actually a fairly big drawback. But hey, NOREG are going to go for the buy again. Of course, Radafaction will be happy to save his AUG and try to work with it into the upcoming rounds. Ooh, Marcelius goes down towards Secret. I believe they would have spotted him out. He has got Zevez for support, so they can try and lock this down between them with a crossfire, but Xantares wants none of it. He gets the first frag, doesn't clear the corner, so Zevez gets a kill back. However, he just decides to play safe. Ooh, okay, Despe actually goes for a belated peek there. I wasn't expecting him to go for that push. However, he decides to try and force a bit of an unnecessary fight. What? Sorry, what? Okay, I guess Engine was in rafters, and he gets caught in the back. I don't know how I missed that on the radar, but there you go. Space Soldiers left in a 2 versus 3. Major going to try and force a fight, and he does get the first frag. Calyx himself looking for a kill, but Radifaction with the AUG comes in. Major does eventually, though, get the trade. The Galil looking good. And Zevez is stuck down the vents. Oh, Major spots the head. And Zevez cannot commit here. What is he doing? Okay. Maybe a little bit overconfident there from NOREG. Zevez certainly could have just waited for the bomb plant, but just decides to die instead. And so we go back to a 15-5 scoreline where NOREG have to eco. I mean, to be fair, if Zevez got that kill, that would have been a hell of a way to close out an incredible map for him. Mac 10s for Despe and Xantares, and they are going to rush A. They want this over and done with as quickly as possible. And it looks like that should end up being the case. Croman's going to get his way back in towards 7. Engine should be holding this one off. Engine doesn't quite spot the opponent out. Croman gets a kill. Oh, a second frag for the USPs. Xantares at long range with the Mac does get some assistance. So it will still be taken by Space Soldiers as you would expect. It seems like NOREG have called for a timeout here. I assume this is a tactical one just to make sure they are as safe as possible to be able to close this one out. It also could be worth discussing whether they want to buy here, if they want to try and save for an AWP, but I think they have so many rounds that they can afford to go for the buy into this one, and indeed they will commit. Also, it is worth pointing out, Zevez is only 3 kills away from the 30 bomb. So if NOREG could allow Zevez to get a triple to close it out, that would be a fitting way to close Nuke. I'm certainly still not a believer in the Space Soldiers comeback just yet. Feels like NOREG have maybe been sort of cruising a little bit in these recent rounds. No AUG for Radifaction this time, just going to be the M4s. Alongside the UMP for Croman to get himself the utility. Space Soldier's going to stay in towards lobby for the most part to start things off. A couple of players are up on top of Silo. And I believe Zevez was holding this off, trying to hold a fairly tight angle. I don't know if Major will expect Zevez to be playing here. It's a fairly difficult fight for both players to find. Flash comes in, Zevez blinded up, but he crouches down. I don't think Major has any idea, and indeed Zevez gets the opening frag. Engine was looking for the trade, but he's just going to come in towards the A site. But Croman is here. Zevez does find a double. Calyx is there to at least stop the push from Croman, which again didn't exactly feel necessary. So a 2v3 now for NOREG to try and close out. Remember, Zevez is on 29 kills now. Here comes, no, not quite the 30 bomb, because Calyx shuts him out. Despe will plant the bomb, and Calyx had to keep him safe, and he did his job. Radifaction lines up the flash, and that will allow Rubino to try and come up. He's stuck on the ladder, so he can't take those shots. And Rubino in all kinds of trouble. Radifaction has to make it happen, and he does get the first frag. Despe has it all to do. He's full blind, spraying away. Despe stuck in a corner, and there it is. NOREG will take Nuke. Zevez not quite the 30 bomb, but 29 kills is more than enough as NOREG take the map 16-6. Very impressive performance from NOREG, and that's why I was a little bit surprised to see Space Soldiers keep nuke in, especially when they haven't played it in so incredibly long. But they take the gamble, and NOREG prove themselves to be a fairly strong nuke team, and now it all goes down to the last map. It's going to be Mirage to close things out. So we will get to see if Space Soldiers can manage to hold on to the best of 3. Remember, the winner of this series has to go up against Envy, so not exactly an easy game for either of these two teams to play. But we will be back with the third and final deciding map. Mirage will decide this series after this quick break.
World Electronics.